welcome to the Secret Restaurant Podcast. I will be your host for this journey through the audio waves of time. My name is Nate Hoyle. What's going on today? Nice day today. Nice day out. You ever notice how when the weather's good, people say it's nice out, but when the weather's bad, they never say that it's mean out? You ever think about that? What's that about? You know what I think it is? I think that we're being gaslit by Mother Nature herself. Because when the weather's good, it's like, oh, it's so nice. But then when it's blizzarding and below zero, or lightning bolts striking across the sky, I go to a concert Friday. It's Tuesday today. I've been a concert-going man these days. Talk about the most recent one, because that was actually one that I got tickets for and wanted to go to. So it was a heavy metal show at a brewery. The band lineup, I'll tell you before I get into the story of it. There was a local band. What were they called? Telekinetic Yeti from Iowa. I don't think they're from the Quad Cities, but Iowa. And then a band called Conan. So these are all kind of like doom metal, sludge metal, really heavy, with typically more harsh vocals bands. So Conan I had seen one time, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, at the very same brewery. And the place has a beer named after one of their songs. They must be comrades in alliance with one another. The band isn't from America. I can't remember where they're from. But and then the headliner, which I was excited about because I had not seen them, and they are pioneers of the genre, very iconic band despite being independent and underground. They're called Weed Eater, and they're very sludgy, doomy, beautiful sludge. Shout out the brewery too, because it's probably my favorite brewery in the Quad Cities. It's called Wake, and it's in Rock Island. I remember the first time, it's heavy metal themed. Like they'll be playing a lot of days they play like Sabbath, but some days they'll even be playing like death metal over the speakers, which is kind of hilarious because there's, depending on when you go or whatever, there's a lot of like the metal crowd there with the denim and the patches and the all black outfits. But then other time, because their beer is kind of famous. Like I said, it's my favorite brewery, and I'm talking about the location is great, but the beer itself is probably my favorite in the Quad Cities. And so that also brings the crowd that doesn't necessarily listen to extreme music too. But anyway, point being, the Weed Eater band also have a collab beer. I think they just do that regularly. They'll collab with bands, and then all of their menu is usually puns, or even just, I don't even think it's puns. I think it's just lifted from lyrics or lifted from band names or whatever. So the Conan one was called Volt Thrower, which is one of their songs that they closed the set with, probably on purpose. Pretty badass. And then the Weed Eater one is just the band name is called Weed Eater IPA, which I have a story about that. But the menu's pretty cool because I feel like I know a lot of the stuff when I see it. And it's not always metal either. There was one, I can't remember what style it was, but it was like Shook Ones, which is obviously Mobb Deep from their iconic Infamous album. Their infamous album. Every rhyme I write is 25 to life. Well, isn't that true, Nate? No, it's not. Not for me, at least. I did hear some. I'm pretty sure that song opens up. It's a duo. I'm getting way off topic, but it's a duo of the rappers Havoc and Prodigy. And that, I think that verse starts with Havoc saying that. But I did hear someone say, a notable force in the rap industry said that Prodigy had the greatest opening lines in rap history, which they both kind of do, I think. But there was one crazy one that I think about a lot. It's on a different song. It's called, what's that one called? It's the one that's like, ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. But anyway, Prodigy opens that song, which is probably their most famous, if not one of two most famous songs. He opens that song saying, "There's a war going on outside no man is safe from. You can run, but you can't hide forever." which is crazy because he does not rhyme those whole two bars, but it sounds so smooth. Anyway, why am I talking about this? So the Weed Eater beer, it's got this type of hop. I can't remember the name of it, but when you open it or when they pour it, it literally smells like weed. I don't know if anyone's had that type of beer before, but it's kind of crazy. I mean, now I like it because it's kind of nostalgic or whatever. It doesn't get you high or anything, but it's kind of like cool because like it smells like weed. But I remember the first time I had one, I was in California and I was in Oakland, and I had one from a liquor store, and I literally opened it and poured it at my friend's place, and I had to literally Google to make sure that there wasn't like THC in it, because I was worried that it smells so much like weed. I hadn't had one like that before, and I literally had to Google it. And then it turns out you can't sell THC in alcohol. I don't think, at least back then, you couldn't. But that first one I had was whatever that brewery does, the Space Dust variant also. So it's already, breweries love doing like drug themes. It's kind of funny. It's like, no, that's just a beer. But so then this Weed Eater one, they do a similar style. I should find out what hop it is. But anyway, if you try one or if you opened it, it's like not even, I'm not exaggerating. Like it smells like someone just smoked weed around you. So I had a couple of those, enjoyed them, watched the show. I'm not going to lie, doom metal, I think doom metal and sludge metal and those types of bands have the coolest rigs of all live music in regards to their amps and guitars and setups and stuff. So what I was doing the whole time, in addition to enjoying the music, in addition to feeling the bass drum kick through my rib cage, also just admiring the different amps and stuff they had. Obviously Orange is popular, but Weed Eater had this crazy one. Their guitarist, they had this Marshall stack, but it looked like it was like literally 100 years old. It was like the fabric was all torn, and it was actually tan. And when I was at the show, so a Marshall is an amp, for those who aren't nerds or whatever. It was like tan, and it looked so old and sun faded. I thought that the whole thing used to be like a standard black Marshall, but it literally, I thought it got like faded over time. But then I went home and there actually are tan ones. But just the way that the whatever it's called, like the mesh or like the fabric over the speaker was all torn, and it looked so beat up and stuff. It was awesome. There seems to be a nostalgia for really old shitty amps too with like that genre. Like finding amps that nobody wants and then making them sound good. And then the singer and bass player of Weed Eater, I didn't even know what type of speaker he was playing on. He plays bass, and it was like one speaker, or it was like one no, what are they called? Are they just called speakers? So the cab is the top part with the dials on it, and then whatever the speaker or whatever. It was like sideways with two speakers. It looked like a subwoofer, but it was also like really fancy looking, and it looked like it was from the future. So that was the irony of it, was some of the amps looked 100 years old, and some of them looked like 100 years in the future. And then I think other bands were playing mostly PVs. PVs are badass. Dude, oh, I have another story. This is when I start trying to talk about too many things at once, but sticking with this show before I talk about the other one. So that night, there were actually tornado warnings, and the show was outside in the parking lot. And I was kind of wondering if it was going to even happen, but then I looked at the brewery's page, and they were like, we are still having this show. And things were supposed to clear up, but literally it was tornado warnings and like purple lightning. Like some of the lightning I saw before the show actually started looked like it went all the way to Earth. And then it was like pouring, sirens going off. But the actual show was in a tent. And then, like I said, by the time the first band started, it wasn't raining anymore. Or maybe it sprinkled a little bit throughout. But then there would be like huge bolts of purple lightning going like sideways every like 5 minutes or something, 10 minutes. So that just added to the Doom experience. And the tent was interesting. Like the tent, it did kind of hold the sound in. Like when I was outside of the tent, you could still hear everything, but then when you went inside, it was like loud. Really looking forward to more stuff like that now that it's getting warmer. Now that it's getting nicer out and not mean out. They have a famous festival during 4th of July at that brewery called Red, White, and Doom, which is actually the first time I saw the band Conan, which was the middle band on this recent roster. That was a good segue to the other show that was a few weeks ago that I didn't know any of the bands going into it. Many years ago, in approximately 2018-19, I was looking for a new amp, and I went to Guitar Center. And surprisingly, Guitar Center's used selection is like pretty solid as long as you go there and like test it out. I've seen videos online more so of like guitars being displayed at Guitar Center and they're like broken basically. But the one in my area has pretty much, I haven't experienced that. But the one in Davenport, so I don't want to talk badly about that particular store. And here is insight on it. So the amp selection, if you go like consistently, chances are you're going to find some pretty cool stuff. And so when I went, I was looking for a new amp because I had been playing just a Line 6. If you know about Line 6s, that probably means that you're in your 30s, like me, or younger or whatever. Yeah, I didn't have the Line 6 anymore, which is the one, I don't know. It would kind of just take up space, but nostalgically, it was the one that I used all throughout high school when I was like jamming in basements and whatnot, playing in Metallica cover bands and or jamming just to write stuff. I had that Line 6. And then I don't have it anymore, and so I wanted to get a new amp. I kept going to Guitar Center, and I was kind of being courageous because I wanted to get like something fancy. I wanted to get a tube amp, which is like the original way that they made amps that had literal like hydraulic tubes in it. Whereas nowadays, it's mostly all digital if you are buying a lot of amps. So I kept going a couple times, and they had these two PV amps. One of them didn't sound very good, but it was kind of like it looked cool, and it kind of, in the same way, talking about sludge metal and all that, it was cool in the sense of it had like a gritty tone and like it sounded like an old amp that you could make sound cool if you wanted to, probably. But it wasn't really what I was looking for. I wanted to have something that I could use for whatever I wanted. So they had another PV. And if people are a fan of amps, you probably know about this style if you're a metal person. So it's called the 5150 style, which actually, it was based on Eddie Van Halen's. It was a collaboration with Eddie Van Halen where they wanted to recreate his setup for Van Halen, which he played a Marshall in all those early albums, but he collaborated with PV to create something that was similar to what he had played for all those classic albums. And these days, it's one of the favorites of metal musicians. Like, you can really get a lot of gain on it. It's got like a really powerful tone to it, especially if you want to play like thrash or death metal or all that. And so I got it. My stomach keeps growling, but I got it. I found it used, bought it, and it was like the heaviest amp ever. And I didn't realize that. So I remember buying it, and then I remember carrying it out to my car, and it was like a workout trying to carry this amp because I parked kind of far away. And then I got it home and literally trying to carry it up the stairs because I was living at home then too. I lived at home then for like a year or something in like 2018, 19. But I was trying to carry it up the stairs, and it was literally so bulky and heavy and stuff. I accidentally put a dent in the wall plaster, and then got it upstairs or whatever. But the thing about that amp, because it's like I said, it's a tube amp, and tube amps are a lot more aggressive than digital amps, at least from what I've experienced. And so literally it sounded amazing, but if you turned up the volume like a millimeter, it would be like overly loud, like super loud. And I had already gotten into my grad school, and I knew I was going to be moving into a studio apartment. So I was like, I can't bring this amp there. Like, it'd be too loud. It was so much fun, but it just wasn't the right time for me to have it. So anyway, fast forward 7 years or whatever, 8 years, 7 years. I went to this show like a week or two ago, and I see the opening band. It was a 3-piece, guitarist, bass, drums, and the guitarist had that same 5150 that I had, or that I had briefly for like a week. And so looking at the amp before the band even started, I was like, this is going to be loud as hell. I don't know if it was the right music for that amp. Honestly, it was kind of more punky. And the metal stuff, I feel like you have to get the, I'm being critical, but I feel like with that amp, with like, it's got like a really high treble on it. And so the volume really cuts through. And so if you're just doing like power chords, or if you're doing like fast punk stuff, it kind of just sounds like sharp and noisy. Like the way that guitar particularly, I mean, it's like Eddie Van Halen just designed it. So think about Eddie Van Halen's playing style. Like obviously he played a lot of technique with like single notes and bends and like pinch harmonics and all that. He wasn't really just playing like Ramones power chords, which I feel like personally for me, like that kind of stuff would be better for more of like a bassy muted tone or whatever. So yeah, way back then I traded that 5150 back and just got like an orange amp that was a solid state digital, not tube amp. And been trying some pedals out on it just because where I've been having band practice, the guy who has the house, he has like a bunch of random pedals sitting around. So I just plugged one in, and it's like I can't remember the brand of it, but it's got like 4 settings. It's got a phaser. It's got a chorus. It's got an echo. And I can't remember that. It's basically like a phaser, but whatever that other one is. That kind of makes it like all trippy. And then it's got like a button on it that you can manually change the tempo of the echo or the phaser or whatever. And then it has dials too. You can do it that way. But honestly, when I plugged that in, because I never used pedals, and then this was only a few weeks ago, I tried plugging that pedal in immediately. I was coming up with stuff that just when you have something fresh like that, you have a new sound, you have a new technique, you get to hear it differently, and it's like immediately everything kind of feels fresh and new. You come up with some new clever stuff. Enough about all that, though. That's not why you're here, is it? That's not why you're listening to this. You're listening to this to get the updates that you've been dying to hear about Secret Restaurant Press. I sure do have some. I have some. So I think I talked a while back, but a friend of mine, Evan Bryson, who is a frequent contributor of the zines and magazines and all that, he offered to format this latest issue of Breakfast 3. And so that's been an ongoing project because we've been using different software and whatnot. Finally got it together, and then it took me a little bit. So I sewed together a test press just to make sure everything lined up because, well, first of all, the page numbers are always tough. Like you have to format it right so that the pages are all in order. But another thing that I used to have problems with is this is part of print. It's a part of books that they call it the gutter, and so it's like the middle of the book where the 2 pages come together, either like glued or sewed or whatever. And in the past, I've had to do a bunch of re-edits because the gutter of it would end up cutting off words or making it hard to read. This software Evan used didn't have that problem, so I was excited about that because I was getting everything together and then sewed it together. And some other boring stuff happened on my end that I was having trouble with the printer, so I wasted a bunch of ink and paper. Not a bunch, but it was kind of like something that I thought was going to take me 15 minutes ended up taking me like 45 minutes, pissing me off and stuff. But then I finally get it together and it looks really good. It doesn't have that problem of like cutting words off, which I think it's because he didn't use Word, which is what I was using. was like a stupid way to do it. He was using maybe Adobe or something. I can't remember, but looks really good. I think I'm gonna wait until after I release my book, just so that I'm not doing too much at once. I'll probably drop my book and then maybe a few weeks later, a month later, get those contributor copies out to people who are included in the magazine. What else? Made a t-shirt. Still trying to figure out the best way to go about doing that, because in reality, I don't want to get a bunch of t-shirts and then A, have nobody buy them, or B, have just one size, or C, have them sitting there for a really long time. So what I thought about doing is, like, they have those iron-on stickers. Like, you iron the thing on the shirt, and then it leaves the graphic on it. I was thinking about just getting a bunch of blank shirts of all the different sizes, and then a bunch of the stickers. And then I could, if I get an order, I could iron on the sticker and mail it out. But then it wouldn't be like I have one graphic on 20 shirts. I could do like other graphics and then just have the same amount of shirts. For example, I have 20 shirts and then I sell 5 of one graphic. And then I could get a different graphic and use those same shirts and iron on a different graphic, if you know what I am talking about. Then I also got some stickers just with the simple Secret Restaurant Press logo, which is the same as the podcast logo, but instead of podcast, it says press. Isn't that amazing? But I was looking at those, and then I was thinking, I wonder what it would be like to invest in a printer that actually just printed stickers. Or if you would eventually save money, because the reason I got stickers is I got this coupon to get like 50 stickers for like, I think it was $17 for 50 stickers. But if I ordered them again right now without the coupon, I think it would honestly be like maybe $40. Like, the stickers are almost $1 each. So if I were to invest in a printer, which, I don't know, probably wouldn't be worth it, especially since I was just complaining about printers not working. Isn't that a cliche? Having printers break down on you. Slamming the printer with your fist. I don't know. We'll see. Excited to have stickers again, though. It's been too long. I've been thinking about getting them all the time, and then finally I got that coupon. I was like, better do it. So there you go. One final endeavor I would like to share with you. I feel like I'm not usually thinking about talking about my own strategies this much, so I guess it's your lucky day. But I kind of been sharing it on Instagram. There's this photograph from the 60s that I wanted to use, but it's copyrighted. So I've been brainstorming just down the road if I wanted to figure out how to obtain the rights to it for like a t-shirt or a book cover or something. And so, I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, you already seen it, but there's this old actress from the 60s. Her name is Pamela Tiffin. And the reason, I mean, I watched this movie a long time ago, but there's this movie called Harper with Paul Newman. And it's just funny because, you know, it's funny to think that old actresses are hot or whatever. But the opening scene, or her opening scene, is like she's on this diving board and he comes into this huge mansion with a pool in the back. She's like in a swimsuit and she's dancing on this diving board, and it's like hot and stuff, but it's also like kind of weird too. Like the visuals of it kind of almost seem what's the word? Surreal or something. The film's not surreal, although there's kind of fantastic things happening in it. But just something about that scene, it's like he walks into this mansion. I think she's maybe the daughter of the person who owns the mansion or whatever. Yeah, she's like dancing on their diving board. And I think he's going there to see either her mom or stepmom or something. the wife of the dude who owns the mansion, or I guess it's all their mansion then technically, but the wife of the rich dude. But if you haven't seen that movie, Harper, 1966, starring Paul Newman, there's a lot of really great moments like that, just with the scenes. I'm not going to explain them all because I have other things to tell you, but that's a great one. That is something I kind of like about the 1960s noir genre, is I feel like sometimes they can be a little dry, but then there's always like a moment or two or a character or two that you kind of remember or you look back on and it's like, whoa, that was kind of badass, or like that was like super creative character writing or something like that. So anyway, I watched that Harper movie a long time ago, but the diving board scene, for whatever reason, always stood out to me. I mean, obviously there's like, every movie has like people being hot of all genders, period. Any movie, they do that. So I don't know why that one kind of, it was like just weird to me. Maybe it was the music too, but I kind of always remembered it, and I've watched the movie since. But then for some reason, I was looking that actress up. I think I was just trying to find old pictures for the exact same reason of like using them for posts or graphics of t-shirts, just because I was like kind of brainstorming. And so I was looking pictures of her up, which she had like a interesting career anyway, because she was even in like magazines. I think she was in Playboy and then other stuff. She was kind of a fashion icon, although I haven't really heard her discussed as much as others, at least not today in these days, which is probably also part of the appeal too. Like you wouldn't want to just use some image of like Audrey Hepburn or something. I mean, no shade towards her, but like that would be very expected. So I think I was trying to find actresses of that era, or any era really, that might not be like something that someone sees them and knows their name unless they're a huge film fan. So I was looking her up. She had some pretty cool pictures, a bunch of them. I mean, like I said, she was like kind of like she was in Playboy, or she was in some more like seductive stuff. And then some of them were just like not really trying to be seductive and whatnot, but just like, you know, she was a little hottie or whatever. And I found this one. It's like her. I guess she's outside this like art museum in Italy, and she's like holding us like a stack of 2 or 3 books, and she just like stand there. And for some reason, I put it up with like first the Secret Restaurant logo, and then with like a fake, like a logo of my own name that's kind of made to look like a band logo, brand logo, whatever. And I did that like a few weeks ago, but I just ended up kind of really liking it because I've tried a bunch of other ones too. I've tried pictures I took. I've tried just doing like shapes, like literal shapes of like squares and stuff. And some other graphics spanning many decades. And this one, I don't know if other people are like this. In like art or even just like anything you do, like if you want to, I don't know what, if you want to like buy a pair of shoes or something, like you just know which one is the right pair that you want to be seen wearing. Like I get that way with art and stuff like that too. Choosing covers, choosing what writing to use. And I feel like I've been kind of getting that with this picture of her holding the books. Because, I mean, of course, you could do anything. You could find a picture of some 60s actress, but this one seems to have, like, the layer of the books, you know. And then I just like how it looks. But then I was trying to find out if it was in public domain, which I pretty much already knew it wouldn't be, because it was used in several print publications with, like, the photographer and whatnot. So I know how to purchase it, but I think I can only use it for, like, a periodical. And it's not I don't want to spend that much money anyway. So kind of a downfall of like trying to use found media or trying to, if you get tired of your own work, making your own covers, taking your own pictures, then it's like you're going to have to spend money on it, on something else. It would be probably a good experiment to figure out how that all works, but I could probably find one that isn't like $200 to use it. I think that's how much it was. I think it was like $200 to print it in like a periodical, and then it wasn't available to use for like merchandise. But maybe if that develops, I'll fill you in more. Still been hitting a streak of my productivity. Productivitation. Which, if you couldn't tell already from my ramblings of using pedals and researching copyright, I'm in a little bit more clear of a headspace than when it was blistering cold out. But yeah, I think for me, what I need to do, and I think I kind of talked about this an episode or two ago, but just like the process of waking up, and I mean, I drink coffee, but not really doing anything else except picking up a notebook has really been working incredibly well for me. Like in the last month, I've finished 2 short stories completely that I've already sent out. And then I have another draft that I'm kind of trying to be patient with, because I feel like I could send it out, but some of the things after I send it out I might want to change. I already know that might happen, so I'm kind of sitting on that one. But literally, I don't mean to like mansplain or whatever, but it's not mansplaining if it's true. Is that true? I don't know. Basically, wake up in the morning, don't talk to anybody, get a cup of coffee and a notebook. No computer, just handwriting and notebook. And I usually actually put my cell phone on the charger in a completely different room. And then what usually happens is I'll be sitting in a chair, and I'll be sitting there not knowing what to write, and I just have to keep reminding myself, like, you might need to wait a minute, you might need to wait 2 minutes, but you can't do anything else, because once you've waited those 2 minutes, which is hardly anything, eventually you're going to start getting a sentence, and then once you get that sentence, you're going to get 20 more sentences, and it's going to like, your brain's just going to go onto the page. It's cliche millennial things to be preaching about cell phones, but that is like really, for me, that is one of the most important parts of that process. Is like, you can't even check, I personally can't even check social media one time in the morning. Like, if anything, maybe I check my email, refresh it one time. But even then, that's like kind of risking it. Like, don't look at your phone, don't do anything. Don't look at your computer. Literally, you have to just be like waking up, and then like the only thing that your brain is focusing on is like writing things with a pen. It's really been working for me. And if people don't want to listen to my exquisite secrets, well, maybe in a few years when I'm the greatest living writer, you'll wish that you had listened to me. All right, that's enough for today. I'll talk to you guys later.